I'm back in the winner's seat here in the Secret Lab area, and I've got Twistzz with me as Team Liquid make it through, but maybe not the way many people expected. You guys went 3-2 in the end. You had a great game just then at the end, a lot of overtimes that come into play, but maybe you guys just like playing more rounds. My first question though is going to be, how does it feel this time around? Like, was the pressure really on this time?
I don't think the pressure was there. I think the pressure was gone when we hit the BO3 stage. BO1s, I could definitely tell there was pressure. Our first two matches, I think the nerves were back, just from like playing on stage again.
Yeah.
Big event. All of us knew that our practice was pretty rough, like worse than usual. And I think it's just from, obviously we didn't play as a team for like 3 weeks, so obviously that does a lot. And my break wasn't that good myself, so just kind of just wasn't feeling it getting back in. But when I started to be with the team and we started playing, I started to feel really good again. And I think we just have to, just like Keith said in his interview, we just have to play more together and practice, and I think we'll start to feel it again.
Now you said your break wasn't so good. Do you mean individually, like while you were practicing and stuff like that, or?
Just individual stuff, like back home stuff.
Yeah.
Like it didn't feel like a break. It felt like I just wasted 3 weeks. But obviously it wasn't a waste of 3 weeks. I got to spend a lot of time with my mom, just not in the way that I thought we would be spending time.
So you guys started off in your opening game against Crazy. You play a team that is very unpredictable, but very clear that they can cause upsets, and you choose Mirage, which is a great map for them. Do you think that was, obviously you did it, you took the win, but do you think that was a bit of a risk coming into that one?
No, actually, I think it was a good map for us. Like, we didn't really care about what their best map was, we just cared about what we felt comfortable on, and it ended up being Mirage. And we looked over their demos, and I mean, they just did a bunch of obvious stuff, kind of like not usual stuff. Like when they're splitting A, they would go 4-up con and like have 1A. That's like pretty messy stuff, yeah. But it's scrimmy. It's really aggressive, and we paid attention to it and we countered it.
So now we come on to the NRG game, and this is an NRG that is very different, with just having Stanislaw and Tarek added to the roster, looking really strong. They end up going 3-0. You guys play them on Dust 2, and Dust 2. Is it the map to pick for best of ones?
No, it's definitely not the map. I've talked it over with my team like multiple times. I dislike playing Dust. I'd rather have had a nuke or something where it's like, you know, if you lose, it's like we didn't play like the better team, you know? Yeah. Dust 2 is kind of just whoever starts off good, the momentum, or you just can't get things rolling on one side. It's kind of like over. Like it's so easy for one side to snowball, CT or T side, and yeah, Dust 2 is a pretty random map. Like we just didn't play like up to our standards, I suppose, and they're playing really good, and we play them in practice, and they're performing well. But when they're at the major, they had like a slow like play style. Like in scrims, like they were very scrimmy, like fast.
Okay.
And at here, they've been playing pretty slow, so it's nice to see them take a different strategic approach.
Is that one of the things that caught you guys off guard?
No, I think I'm pretty sure they kept mid to being, and we didn't really know how to deal with it. But like John said in the interview on stage, the 2 losses we had were very important, and it's helping us grow as a team and learn, because it's things we didn't run into before the break, and now we're finally losing the things that we can learn from, so it's good.
Now you said obviously when it came to the picks before that you guys focus on picking for yourselves. Now you go up against Avangard and you go on to Overpass. We saw them play against Ents, and well, they didn't really show anything. They looked pretty like they got dominated, right? It was a 16-5 scoreline. So how on earth did it end up going to overtime? Because I know James had a good game as well, Buster was up there as well, but pound for pound, we would still put Liquid far ahead of them.
We actually felt like the game was really close. Like even when they were pulling away, we had to like make a small comeback to push into OT. Up until their 2 B rushes that we now know how to handle,
yeah.
It just kind of ruined our money. Even when they rushed B, our money was bad, and since those 2 losses against Energy and Avangard, we've kind of focused more on paying attention to our economy more and not just recklessly buying things that we don't need to, and playing more as a team and building protocols, and it's working well.
Now at this point you guys are 1-2, and then I'm wondering how you guys were feeling mentally, because you're the best team in the world. Certainly there's expectations from the fans and the community, but where was the team at this stage?
Like I said, I think the pressure was relieved. We know how good we are in best of threes. But to be honest, even before the major, we were talking, and we wouldn't have been super bummed if we lost. We can't expect to just go in there and play perfect CS. And we know that our practice is going bad, so we didn't want to hold ourselves to super high expectations and have it lead to disappointments. But since we hit the BO3 stage, we're working really hard on finding our form that we had before the break, and I think we're slowly getting to it. Obviously, the Mouse Sports game was super close today, and I think us staying in it for so long and like constantly, I mean, I don't really know what really was happening in the match. It seemed like really scrappy CS. Like, everyone was pushing things that would normally never be pushed.
Yeah, things are maybe loosened up a little bit over the player break from the tightness that you had of being a bit more structured and knowing what you guys wanted to do. But versus North, we got a more confident Team Liquid showing once again. Now, North's a team that's always, you don't know what you're going to get. They're a bit 50-50 with it. Do you feel like they vetoed wrong against you guys?
No. I think their veto was fine. Honestly, I was questioning, not really our veto. We picked Mirage, I think, right? Yeah, we did. We picked Mirage again.
Yeah.
So obviously it's our comfort map. Honestly, before the break, we probably would never just pick Mirage straight off the top. We would probably go for something else. And I don't think I was expecting them to pick D2. I mean, before that, we did the vetoes in our head. And I thought they were going to pick Inferno, because that's like their comfort map to go to. That's what they really like. But they picked us too, and like I said, it could go either way, and it ended up being a 16-5. So.
Now you guys are going up against Mouse Sports, the game that's just been played, and we saw what happened, but you guys also played them at Pro League, and you saw that they were able to take you guys on Nuke. It was that crazy overtime game. Yes, you were able to win it 2-0, but they can make these games very close. Did you expect it to go the way it did today, like being that close once again with all these overtimes?
I think Mirage should have been way cleaner. We're up quite a bit. It's 14-8. So in our minds, it should have never been overtime in the first place. And in some cases, it could feel like a loss. Yeah. Because we should have closed it out. And Dust2, obviously, their map picks, so they studied and they prepared for it. But honestly, we copied, like 2 months ago, we stole strats that they used. And so we're just both running the same strats versus each other. Yeah. And it became really obvious what they're doing because we stole the strats from them. And that's like their go-to strats. So I don't think they really knew how to adapt on their T side. And it let us like get back into the game really easily.
And how were the mid-round calls at this point? Because when I spoke to Nitro on the opening of here, when you guys arrived, he was very focused on like saying, that is the most important thing for us at the moment if we need to close out these games.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good example because in Mirage, there was really no mid-round calls. There's lots of indecisiveness. Not really. What tends to happen is we have so many people that have opinions, which is a good thing, and a lot of people want to call things and kind of like help people in the round when they're dead, or even when they're alive. So when things like break down, like a situation unfolds, and things are getting hectic, multiple people tend to call sometimes, and it can mess with people's brains, like, should I do what he said, or should I do what this guy said, or should I just do what I'm thinking? So you kind of have to choose against, between 3 brains and pick whatever one you think is more favorable. And it's kind of hard when you're just shaking off the rust, and it's things like that never really occurred before the break. You could really like think for yourself, and situations were clear to us, but now we're getting back into things, and we have to like kind of re-go over the protocols of situations that we're in. It's not all super clear how it was before. And yeah, before, honestly, in our North game, our comms were like really hectic. like super like panic comms. Like sometimes I would hear like 4 people talking at once.
And you just can't concentrate at that point? No,
it's kind of just like you kind of just blank out and you try to focus on what you're thinking instead of what everyone else is thinking. And sometimes it can be really hard.
And what does Adren do at a point like this, right? Because you obviously used a number of timeouts. Is he trying to like group you guys back together?
Yeah, he just sometimes says really general stuff, but stuff that gets us thinking. I mean, he's there to make us think, so we can like think for ourselves in the round. And yeah, I think all of his calls today were really good. He was super spot on what we had to do, and I think he's super underrated. And I don't think without the tack pauses, I think our games would have went differently.
Now we know who you're going to face next. It's getting this Astralis matchup, but a lot earlier than what many people may have expected going into it. Do you feel like with the amount of games you've played, because we're making the joke of, yeah, you guys just want to play more games, why not get yourself warmed up on officials? But do you feel like a few more days of practice and you guys can be where you need to be able to take them down, because they've also shown some weaknesses as well?
I believe so. I honestly think that any team that's made the legend stage could beat each other, to be honest. I feel like there's no clear favorite right now, including us. And I think over the next 3 days, we can definitely put ourselves in that position to be the clear favorite. But I'm honestly just looking at this event like another ESL Pro League run where we dropped into the lower bracket, elimination games throughout the entire event, and this is no different.
And I was going to ask you that as well. How does this compare to previous major, right? When you look at Katowice and then coming into this in terms of how you guys are feeling, because you went into the previous major not as the favourites, and now coming into this, you are the favourites and you're in this position.
I don't think mindsets have really changed, to be honest. I think our confidence is just way higher than it was before. Obviously, at Katowice, people can't put too much on us because we only had like a couple weeks, I think, or 3 weeks with Jake, or 4 weeks. Not a lot of time to, integrate a new coach and a new player. And we still made top 8, had a good run, and got upset by Ents, who then proved that they were like a top 5 team. Mm-hmm. So in my mind, I think that loss wasn't that bad. And after that loss, we regrouped, and I think that's what made us grow as a team faster.
Now, the competition at this major certainly seems a lot tougher than any past events we've seen. What do you put this down to? Is it just the major brings out the best of teams and players?
I think so. Beforehand, you would never see teams like Dream Eaters or Simon Gaming or any of these teams really play versus vitality or energy. They would never match up in like any event because they're just not there. But the major allows teams that wouldn't get the opportunity before to have the opportunity to play against the best, and they can prove themselves. I'm just hoping that these teams don't end up just being another Vegas squadron and not really doing anything productive outside the majors. Yeah,
that's it, right? The focus outside of all of that as well. Now you guys have made it. You're in the arena once again. What is the game plan for the next few days? Are you going to take a little bit of break, or is it just not enough time to even take the break and you have to full focus on practice?
I don't think there's no time to take a break. We had enough before that. We had a break. I think right now it's all down to getting our practice days in over the next 3 days and feeling better as a team, reviewing these demos, and obviously growing. That's the plan.
Time to strike, time to grind. Twistzz, always a pleasure, man. Thank you very much, and good luck when you get to the arena.
Thank you.